What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Vito. Today we're talking about, well, I don't even know. What do you call this? We're talking about how everybody is fucking insane. And when everybody's so insane that I already know people are going to respond to this video telling me I work for the FBI or whatever else, because everybody's just lost their fucking minds. Alright, so we have this thing, alright? Florida. The great state of Florida. Great state if you're a high school kid and you want to get shot in the face, which happened. What is it, 17 kids died? Holy Lord. It's the worst. Anytime something really bad happens and a lot of people die. You know, let's say like a fireworks factory explodes and 15 people die. We go, okay, well, how do we make the fireworks factory more safe? You know, that's what you do after a bunch of people die. After a bunch of people die, get shot, you go, well, how do we stop this from happening? Let's look at it. You know, first thing off the top of my head is that maybe the fact that this guy had a gun for shooting people might be part of the problem. And then immediately, no! How dare you suggest that an 18-year-old kid being able to buy what is basically an assault rifle is part of the problem? That's not part of the problem. Look, even if you don't think guns are the problem, fine, we can have that discussion. But you gotta be willing to have the discussion. You can't just be like anybody who brings up the idea that guns might be bad is an asshole. They're not. 17 kids just died. It is completely reasonable for someone to be like, I don't know, I think the thing that propelled a piece of metal at 1,000,000 miles an hour straight through the fucking skull, that seems like a reasonable thing for someone to be like, I think that device, that tool, it just maybe is part of the problem. Maybe less people should be able to have that, or we should have better records on who has that. Why is that unreasonable for someone to say that? And apparently, yes. Apparently, yes. Not only is it unreasonable for someone to suggest that guns might be bad. Oh my God. Can you believe it? That somebody might believe that? Even if you think that guns are great, it's okay if somebody else thinks guns are bad. But, okay, if you think guns are bad, you're apparently crazy, or, this is the worst, you're clearly working for a global Zionist George Soros agenda. You are being paid by some shadow government, whatever the fuck, for no reason. For no reason. Why? Why would you? So it's crisis actors. They call it. They call it crisis actors. The idea is that all of these shootings, these horrible shootings, that somebody, I don't know who, everybody's got a different idea who, but somebody is paying people to go out and pretend to be sad. Because God forbid somebody was just actually sad about a shooting. It was like, wow, I mean, a lot of my friends died. I feel bad. It's like, nope. That never happens. That's not real. Nobody's sad after all their friends die. This is some sort of plot. Now there's different gradations of it. Some people will say the shooting was staged by the government or whoever else. So then these kids are in on the whole thing. The whole thing. They knew it's a fake shooting and they bring in fake people to talk about the fake shooting. And then there's the next level of people, which is like, okay, the shooting happened, but then these news organizations like CNN, who are owned by somebody, I don't know. They always say George Soros. Oh, George Soros. Who does anybody know anything about George Soros at this point, other than the fact that he's responsible for every single thing that every liberal has ever done? So George Soros is paying these kids to go out there and say, I don't like guns. The kids couldn't possibly on their own come up with the idea that, like, wow, a gun just killed all my friends. I don't like that. I didn't like the thing that killed my friends. No, the kids couldn't possibly have that thought in their head. So here's what sucks. It kind of, I mean, it doesn't suck. It's good, but you can't find these crisis actor whatever videos because the YouTube's locking down, which is fine, honestly. I know I'm a big free speech nut, but I think it's reasonable that if your platform, crazy people are taking, you know, fucking video of Sandy Hook parents whose kids died and calling them up in the middle of the night being like, I saw a YouTube video that says George Soros paid you to lie about a child you don't have, you fucking criminal. I think that's a reasonable thing to say. I think our platform's being abused right now. Now, if you want to believe that YouTube is part of the globalist Zionist conspiracy of the Jews with the money and they're paying off, fine. That's the reality you have chosen to live in. I live in the reality where YouTube's like, can you guys please stop harassing these people with the dead kids? Just please stop. But yeah, they clamped down hard on this shit. I can't even find some of my funniest examples. My favorite example was, there was a Sandy Hook, it was a mother and her daughter being interviewed, and the daughter's talking about what happened, right? And she goes like, oh, well, you know, we heard the cops were on the roof. And this guy, you know, freezes the video and goes, now watch this in slow motion. And like the mom is like stroking the kid's hair, and he goes, when she strokes her hair, that's the signal to tell them about the cops on the roof, which is a made-up story. That's why it's the top of the head, because that's where the cops theoretically were. And I'm like, okay, think about it for more than 2 seconds. Okay, so let's try and figure out who's paying for it. We're assuming the school shooting is fake, because I think that's what the guy believed. So the government paid for the school shooting, assumedly the government, because who else is able to orchestrate that? But they also paid for all these children. Okay, let's assume they were somehow able to create an entire fake school and surrounding township, all of which are people who have no tangible connection to anyone else. They're all sleeper cell agents, because otherwise a family member would be like, hey, wait, she doesn't go to that school. That's my granddaughter. You know, no, all of these people don't exist somehow, and they're paying them countless millions, right? Because you have to pay this kid and their family to lie, and if they ever just for some reason had a twist of conscience and they're like, wow, I think lying to everyone about this fake school shooting was a bad thing I did, maybe I should come clean. No, you have to give them enough money so they never do that, unless you're just gonna watch them with a sniper rifle for the rest of their fucking life. Okay, so you're paying countless millions of dollars for all these families, these sleeper agents to lie, whatever the fuck else, and you can't find a kid who can remember the line, the cops were on the roof, and let someone's touching her head. That's why. If you have the money to find these magic child actors who are gonna lie about the cops and the fucking getting shot, so that we can, I don't know why, so we don't have guns is the ultimate plan. But for some reason you spent these millions of dollars, but you can't find a kid. It's like, all right, you got to say the cops were on the roof, and she's like, I can't get it. I can't. Where were the cops? And they're like, the roof, motherfucker. And she's like, I need like a signal. Can we have like a complicated, convoluted fucking hand signal thing? Like, can you rub my arm and I'll remember to be like, and I felt bad. These people are insane. Insane. Now, there's different gradients of what people are saying a crisis actor is in this thing, but there is still the top tier crazy conspiracy theorists who I have had talks with on the internet who are like, oh yeah, it's just a giant government cover-up. Okay, so here's an example of what they like to believe. What the fuck is up with the Florida school shooting witness? We'll get back to this ridiculous picture in a second, but let's see. Immediately, these students turned activists threw up some red flags. Okay, so this guy is going to tell us why this kid, who, remember, 17 of his friends got shot, or whatever, kids he knew, classmates, died. He was there. He has video of him talking to people while he's there, because he's kind of a little psychopath, but whatever. That's fine. There's plenty of weird kids in the world. Okay, so, but there's red flags about this weird kid, who is just weird. He's just a weird kid by my metric. Being a weird kid does not mean you're a government agent. I know plenty of weird homeschooled kids. In what was initially an incredibly odd move for a high school student, Hogg vehemently defended the FBI and placed the blame squarely on the president's shoulders before admitting that his father was in the FBI. Okay, so he's got a father who was in the FBI. That little tidbit, oh, those conspiracy theory guys go nuts for that shit. They love it. Any connection to the guy's dad could be a small town cop and they'd be freaking out, being like, he's got it in. He's got it into the shadow government. Why would the child of an FBI agent be used as a pawn for anti-Trump rhetoric and anti-gun legislation? Because the FBI is only looking to curb your constitutional rights and increase their power. So the shooting happens, right? The kid goes on the news maybe like a day or two later. So that means within a day, that dude whose dad is in the FBI put together an immediate plan to be like, okay, there was a school shooting. We got to capitalize on this. Do we have any connections to any of the kids in the school? Oh, one of them has a dad who's an FBI agent. So the FBI got this kid on the phone, I guess. Dad hands him off the phone. They go, listen, David, for the good of your country, we need you to lie about how guns are bad on CNN. Because what we know is that anyone who gets interviewed on CNN immediately changes all laws in the country. That's how it's decided. Just one second on the news and everything changes. That's why after every fucking shooting, the gun laws have immediately evolved and changed. No, they've never changed. In a million shootings, they've stayed pretty much exactly the same. Getting this kid on CNN is the worst FBI plot of all time, okay? It's not, why? All right, this is where it really gets stupid, is they go, look at this proof that this kid is working for the FBI. As you can see, he was on the news in California last year, and now he's on the news in Florida next year. Shut it down. What? Anyone who looks at this and thinks that there is some important piece of information to be garnered from this is literally fucking insane. Okay, so this California thing, first of all, let's just be real. Sometimes people are on the news for one thing, and then later on the news for a different thing. He took a trip to California. There's hundreds of photos of the trip he took. While he was there was an altercation with a boogie board. His friend put a boogie board down on a trash can. He got yelled at by a lifeguard. And you can see the video. It's very uninteresting and boring. But then they're like, oh, but look, that was him. He's an actor, right? He was acting on the news, and now he's acting here at the school. Let's go through this. Okay, so one, that assumes that the school shooting was set up ahead of time. Okay, because that would mean that in order to have this actor kid ready to go, he was already enrolled in the school. Okay, I don't care if you think the government falsified all the records and brainwashed every person who ever lived in town. Okay, this kid went to the school. But before that, just to test, to make sure he was ready for prime time, this deep cell sleeper agent who's been waiting his whole life to do this FBI anti-gun agenda, they flew him out to California for the big boogie board story. They're like, listen, we can't send this kid in blind. Can he handle the boogie board thing? Because if he can't do the boogie board thing, it's off. Cut the whole operation. We're not going to kill all the kids in the school because it all rests on David Hogg, the worst actor, weirdo, probably autistic or something kid. What's the alternative? That they were watching the news story, the FBI? They're like, look, I know we need a secret kid plant for this upcoming school shooting. I just watched the local news, and this kid with this boogie board story nailed it. So what I'm thinking is we get this kid. Again, we brainwashed the entire town into believing that he's been going to that school for a period of many years, you know. And also, this kid with the boogie board story, I got a good feeling that he's going to sit back and let us kill a dozen people. What is your theory? I can't even form a complete picture of what the fuck these people believe, because they don't even know. They don't know what they believe. All they know is they look at this and they go, oh yeah, huh? Connect those dots. He was in California, then Florida, and his dad's in the FBI. I'm just saying, there's a lot of questions. That's the worst line. The worst line is just raises a lot of questions. No, it doesn't raise a lot of questions. Just saying that it raises a lot of questions is not a reasonable defense of anything. That's the thing about these conspiracy theories, is there's like 85,000 different ways people want to spin it. Who's responsible, what happened, the timeline of events. But when you get down to it, every single one of those things is logically insane. And the very simple explanation, you know that thing where it's like the simple explanation is probably the best one? Here's a simple explanation for you. A kid whose dad happens to be in the FBI. Okay, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret right now. My grandfather was in the FBI. I am actually a deep cell sleeper agent, and I've this YouTube channel and all of this, I'm just secretly trying to convince you of, I don't know, I'm waiting for my Zionist handlers to give me the narrative, but so maybe a kid whose dad is in the FBI and happened to be on the news in California, maybe he actually was in a school shooting. And maybe he actually has strong feelings about people he knows getting shot to the point that he wants to go on the news and talk about it. I posted about this on Twitter. I was like, anybody who thinks crisis actors are a thing are idiots. And then like people I know are like, well, did you see that he's got a script? He's reading a script. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, watch this video. Here's the video. Let's watch.
Because we had a fire alarm earlier that day, and that was a drill. So we thought this was a drill too, just another one. Because we have a lot of fire alarms, a lot of fire drills at the school. After we heard the first gunshot, we initially thought it was a drill. Hold on,
it's okay, you're fine.
Actually, that was a bad choice because the janitor, sorry.
It's okay. You're fine, David. You're fine.
Okay, so here's what happens when you conduct an interview. You ask the guy a question, and the guy goes, well, the thing is, what happened is, and you go, okay, well, that's unusable, okay, but I like that you almost got the thought out. Can you just repeat that, you know? And you might even have, like, a nonverbal cue with the cameraman where the guy stutters, and you go, yeah, just do it again, just do it again. You don't even got to say it, just go. So right now, this kid a school shooting happened. There's a lot to think about, a lot of stuff on your mind. Kid goes, well, there was a fire alarm. Oh, I meant to say there was a fire drill. The guy's like, keep going, keep going. Okay, because if I'm editing an interview and I have a bunch of footage of a guy going, well, the thing is, I can't use it because it's gonna look stupid. I'm gonna have to cut all that garbage out, and it's just gonna be a fragmented string of nonsense. It is scripted in far as you're asking a guy to repeat himself multiple times until he gets his thoughts straight. If you consider that a script, fine. So here where he's repeating himself and the guy's going, oh, don't worry, David, it's fine. That's not his Zionist handler being like, don't worry about it, man. I know that we just got you this script last night. It's going to be a hard one to memorize. He's being like, no, it's fine. Just do it again. This video I'm making right now, I have so many takes where I probably start a thought and then go, and I stop and I record that exact thought again. It is completely reasonable for someone to be like, it is perfectly reasonable for somebody to be like, that's how it works. That's how you make videos. And again, this kid wants to be a broadcaster, okay? So maybe he's getting a little precious with his words, okay? Maybe he's trying to sound like Top Dog got all his fucking ducks in a row. Whatever, man, he's a weird kid. And just because he's taking time to craft his image and being like, I want to nail what I say, it's not a conspiracy.
I don't know how to put this in perspective.
Now right there, okay, so there's the cameraman, he says, say, I don't know how to put this in perspective. And I will say this, that seems like going over the line, cameraman. Now, I don't know if this is some small town news guy, but I would never feed an interview guy a line directly. I would say, it sounds like what you're trying to say is you had trouble putting this in perspective, maybe say something about that. Okay, I wouldn't feed a direct line. But even though he gives him a line, the guy doesn't even use it.
He was in there at the same time, and he was in the bathroom, and he didn't know if he was going to live.
Okay, so here's what I see. I don't see, well, this is not a deep cell sleeper agent kid. It's just a weird kid. Did you guys not know weird kids in high school who took themselves real seriously? If this is your conspiracy, you could have a better conspiracy, is what I think I'm trying to say. Now, a lot of this shit comes down to Infowars. And let me be clear. If you are like a guy who goes on Infowars and you're like, yeah, this is the real truth right here. I'm sorry, man. I can't even be nice about it. I can't, I don't want to beat up on people, but if you're like an Infowars viewer, I don't like to assume anything about anybody, but I have to assume that you are either not actually reading the site or you are just a crazy person. Now, whenever we talk about Infowars, the classic quote is Alex Jones, the water turns the frogs gay. I don't even think that's a damning quote. That's just a stupid quote. Alex Jones likes to say insane shit, and then you find out he's speaking in some bizarre-ass metaphor. But this here, I'm going to say this, you can't continue to watch Infowars with a straight face after this.
No, I agree with that. And let me just point out that pedophilia does not stop with sodomizing children. It goes straight into terrorizing them to adrenalize their blood and then murdering them. It also includes murdering them so that they can have their bone marrow harvested as well as body parts. And this may strike your listeners as way out, but we actually believe that there is a colony on Mars that is populated by children who were kidnapped and sent into space on a 20-year ride. So that once they get to Mars, they have no alternative but to be slaves on the Mars colony.
Oh my God. Oh, fuck. Oh my God. Donald Trump went on Infowars. He went on the site with the news site. News.
Let me see what Robert David Steele has to say. Go ahead.
I have to listen to this again.
No, I agree with that. And let me just point out let me just point out that pedophilia does not stop with sodomizing children.
I love this. I love, because this is great. This is great fiction. It's right here, this part about the blood.
It goes straight into terrorizing them to adrenalize their blood and then murdering them.
So to get the good blood from the child sex slaves, first you have to scare the shit out of them, so it's adrenalized blood. That just makes sense to me as a consumer. I don't want regular child sex blood. I want fear blood right now. That's what I love this so much. 30-day advanced and they make you watch a long-ass ad before they tell you how the global Illuminati is trying to kill you. So again, these Infowars guys, they want deniability. They want to be able to say, well, we didn't say that crazy thing. We said, you know, maybe there's something crazy. But we never said, definitely there's something crazy. So here, I don't know, who is this guy? This is like Alex Jones' nephew or some weirdo. Here he's all mad because somebody accused him of calling the kids crisis actors. And he goes, well, hold on.
And the fake news Comedy Central Jordan Kepler show says I'm crazy for calling them actors. Let's actually count them all out now. Let's play it again. Here's all of the actors that go on television, that go to CNN. Here are all of the actors. They are actors. They are in the drama club. They're on Fiddler in the Roof. They're in Annie.
So this motherfucker is literally arguing. He goes, look, I called them actors because they're in school plays. They are technically actors. They know how to act. And it's like, no, that's not what you were talking about. You were talking about how maybe or probably they are a secret globalist gay frog conspiracy. Look, it's right fucking here. It's not like you guys have never used the term before. College professors, crisis actors may have played a part if Sandy Hook was indeed a hoax. And here you go again. Student anti-gun activist featured in CBS News story 6 months ago. Questions swirling around teen activist as odd videos surface. Again, it's the boogie boards. Let's watch. Do you guys want to watch the boogie board story? The most boring, fucking stupid. This is the CNN globalist fucking agenda. Confrontation at Redondo Beach. All right, hold on. Remember, this was David Hogg's trial run for the school shooting interviews.
It's a confrontation that's making waves. A Redondo Beach lifeguard and a teenage boogie boarder get in a heated argument, and it's all caught on video. CBS 2's Andrea Fujii is live in Redondo Beach.
The most boring. I can't even watch this. It's so fucking boring.
Well, Pat, this argument was all about a boogie board that was placed on top of a trash can, just like this. It was all...
Like, literally, you hear 10 seconds of the story and you go, yeah, that's a fucking Zionist plot right there.
David Hogg says his 17-year-old friend put his boogie board on this beach trash can. And when a lifeguard asked him to move it, he did. But then the situation took a turn.
He said, I didn't know it was a crime to put your board on the trash can. Like, because he just didn't want it to get sandy.
This is an Infowars news article. Is the boogie board story. David Hogg's friend put a boogie board on a trash can because he didn't want it to get dirty. And then he got yelled at by a lifeguard. And there's a long video of a lifeguard yelling at the kid. This is the globalist agenda. They said, look, David Hogg, we've been growing you in a tube since birth to be the perfect crisis actor. Your first run is going to be on this crucial boogie board story. We need to... The lifeguards have too much power. And then after this, we're going to go shoot 17 kids. So get ready for that one. This is the first one. Then we're going to kill the kids. Look. And again, this is what Infowars does. They don't say like, oh, this is good evidence of whatever. They just go, hey, we're just talking about it. You know, just look at that, huh? He was on the news, huh? What's that about? Oh, look at this. Huh? He was getting ready to go on the news and he posed for a photo. Nobody ever posed for a photo before going on the news.
This is how their propaganda works. They put crisis actors on the view, like, so you see it. So you see crisis actors and you think, oh, he's saying they're crisis actors.
Which you
even though
are.
I never said they were crisis actors. I only said they were actors. So it's like multiple layers of propaganda. Right. So they play the clip. It's like a 2-second clip of me saying they're actors.
Yep.
Then he takes it to the next level of saying, oh, he says they're crisis actors.
Which was
and then
basically, that's what you were saying. You weren't saying, hey, by the way, these kids... This is how fucking, who is falling for this shit?
Are we saying the shooting didn't happen? Are we saying they're all actors and that they're faking that something happened? No, the media is saying that.
Okay, so if you're not saying that they're actors, what is the point of the story that says that this is somehow, what? What does this mean then? Okay, here's their interpretation. Their interpretation is that whatever, I don't know who, because they're never going to tell you who, because if they tell you who, you can prove them wrong. So they just say the globalists, okay, whatever the fuck that means. The globalists coached this kid. I don't know if they gave him a script, they gave him talking points, whatever. My argument is he's a weird fucking kid. I know lots of weird kids. Let's see which one seems more plausible.
These people saying this is absolutely disturbing, and I'm not an actor in any sense, way, shape, or form. I'm the son of a former FBI agent, and that is true. But as such, it is also true that I go to Stoneman Douglas High School.
When was the last time you ever heard a kid say "as such"?
I was a witness.
He keeps looking off like he's reading a.
When was the last time you ever heard a kid say "as such" in that way?
Okay, he says it looks like he's looking at cue cards. That means you're accusing him of being a crisis actor. You can't just say, no, we're not. It's like, yeah.
I am not a crisis actor. No, you're a Democratic Party operative. Your father and your mother are on record. You go to CNN. You're all over other news programs being anti-gun.
He just said you're on media elsewhere talking about guns or whatever. No, he's not. He's talking about boogie boards. That's not at all what he was talking about. Listen, Alex Jones is straight up. He's doing the exact same thing his little nephew, buddy, accused the other media of doing, is showing one thing while saying another so that people connect them. Listen.
Crisis actor. I am not a crisis actor. No, you're a Democratic Party operative. Your father and your mother are on record. You go to CNN. You're all over other news programs being anti-gun.
You're all over other news programs being anti-gun. And at the same time he says that, he shows CBS 2 David Hogg Witness. So if I had never heard of this kid before, and that's what Alex Jones is saying, well, showing a clip of him on this beach or whatever the fuck, I would be like, oh, that's interesting. He's also talked about other shootings. You know, even me, who's like a skeptic, I'd be like, that's really weird that he was in another news story about another shooting. But that's not what happened. He was in a boogie board story. the boogie board connection is the linchpin to all of this. Somewhere right now, there's a guy with like one of those cork boards with all the pins and the fucking strings going everywhere. And right in the middle, it's the boogie board story. It all connects to the boogie board.
You were interviewed by CBS to give your whole anti-gun spiel.
What? That's such a lie. Holy shit. Wait, I didn't even play that part. Go do it again. What?
You're a Democratic Party operative. Your father and your mother are on record. You go to CNN. You're all over other news programs being anti-gun. You were interviewed by CBS to give your whole anti-gun spiel.
Yo. Don't, if you're watching this and you're like still giving Alex Jones the benefit of the doubt right now, he literally just tried to make the connection as hard as possible by saying you were interviewed by CBS about guns, while on the screen it shows a CBS News story saying it's from 6 months ago. If you are watching this guy and you're like, nah, this is fine. He's got all the answers I need. He's got all the super blue, whatever the fuck product with the fucking vitamins that are gonna get me jacked up. So when the lizard people come, I can fight them off.
Before all this happened, and
then it cuts away. He cuts away. He doesn't. Dude, I guess the real moral of the story is don't watch Infowars. This gun control debate we're having is important. Okay, so when someone tells you they don't like guns, don't assume that they're working for a globalist lizard people agenda. Just assume that they have passionate opinions on a subject and have that discussion. People cannot like guns, and maybe you like guns, and maybe we can meet in the middle. Maybe we can have some guns. Or maybe you can keep your guns, and we'll make sure that people don't just grab them and start killing kids. But the second you start talking about the boogie board fucking connection, there's nothing. We can't have a debate because you're living in a fantasy bullshit world. Stop it. I implore you. Stop. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I've been told that I need to be more aggressive about telling people to like and subscribe is the reason people don't watch my videos, because some YouTube math algorithm only works if I act like a total whore and demand you guys click the like button. So here's me being a whore. I'm gonna rub my nipples for you. What does that have to do with? Leave a comment or whatever. Don't leave a million comments about how I'm in league with the boogie board conspiracy, okay? You can leave a couple comments about some evidence you need me to look at, and the kids were, you know, meeting behind the school with George Soros. Fine. If you really feel that passionately about it, I will look at your evidence. I don't think there's gonna be anything there, but sure, bring it on. And thanks for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you soon.